welcome back to the Collegiate Star League. This is week 2, and my name's Toffee's bringing you the action here. You can find me at Toffee's TV, and I'm joined by Gorgon the Wonder Cow. You can find him at the Wonder Cow, and I do want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Twitch, who have been supporting the CSL by featuring our matches weekly. We are proud to be affiliated with the largest gaming stream provider in the world. Secondly, Asus, Republic of Gamers, is the presenting sponsor for CSL, footing the bill for the prize pool as well as the travel to DreamHack for the LAN finals. Follow them at Asus_ROG to help support everyone involved with college esports. Gorgon, the last game was a bit of a raffle stomp. What do you expect to see from this one?
Well, it depends on how seriously University of Michigan decide to move into this game, right? If they move into this game with the same attitude they ended the last game with, then it could be a very favorable game for UNT. If they start this game with the attitude that they started the last game with, then it should be just a quick devastation to UNT's favor. That they unilaterally outplayed UNT to open last game, and then they got a bit of that CSL mentality where it went off the rails a little bit. It jumped the shark, so to speak.
Zingle came up into the Twitch chat and actually said that he was going to make this a fast game for all them fans out there. So I'm curious to see if he can live up to the hype that he has built for himself in the Twitch chat. That's a difficult thing for him to do. Oracle picked up here on University of Michigan. Now, there's a hero that I don't fully understand, and I think a lot of players don't either. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Oracle?
10 seconds.
What's difficult to understand? You've got Fate's Edict, which is going to disarm, but also give 100% magic resistance, which synergizes Purifying Flames, which does magical damage, but also then gives a heal per second. But the heal per second is scalable and will amount to non-base 10 amounts of heal over time, which can then be altered by False Promise, which will change the amount of incoming heal from all sources while temporarily stopping any damage until the end of duration. And of course, you've got Fortune's End, which is a purge as well as a stop, but not a stun.
Yeah,
it's simple.
Sounds real simple. Sounds like the kind of thing that the University of Michigan folk will run, but not the University of Texas. They're going to go classic with the Zeus, Earthshaker, Vengeful Spirit combination here. Lots of stun. They did that last time. It didn't work out great for them, but maybe a little better this time, especially since the Bat Rider's in the pool.
Yeah, the Bat Rider Oracle is an interesting synergy there, just because you are going to be able to get that Bat Rider in, guaranteedly get him out unless he gets stunned, right? Because you always have the False Promise to follow up if you need to. The Vengeful Spirit is the obvious counter to the Bat Rider. He's the go-to counter in every case. Usually when teams decide to pick a Bat Rider, they ban or pick the Vengeful Spirit first. And the fact that U of M did not do that, to me, tells me that they are more worried about a potential push strategy out of UNT, which could neutralize a push strategy out of U of M, and they are not that worried about individual play skill coming out of UNT, just group potential.
Oh, yeah, I've got to agree with that. I think in the last game, University of North Texas showed us good teamwork, especially in that defense phase, but I wouldn't say anybody showed outstanding individual skill, so I'm curious to see how they do. And I think that's the difference here. U of M did some good team play, but really focused on individual skill of players to carry them through on the back of the Lone Druid and the Zingle and support from his team, whereas Tango seems to really depend on teamwork. And I think that you can see that in these two drafts. Tango's definitely more reliant upon getting these team initiations and the team play aspect of this draft, where I think U of M also has a team that is relatively self-sufficient in itself early in the game.
Yeah, so for UNT, they are really reliant on chain stunning right now. They don't have a lot of initiation potential until they get blink daggers up, but they do have a lot of damage if they do manage to find an opportunity. So probably Fissure into Magic Missile into Shackle Shot is going to be the way these things run together. They do also have Thunder God's Wrath on top of the Echo Slam. Worked pretty well for them a couple of fights last game. The question is, Will they be able to execute it earlier in this draft?
And don't forget the beauty that is the swap into Shackle Shot, especially in the early game if you're moving for ganks and rotations. So that could potentially come into play here. Disruptor's going to get grabbed up by U of M. And he's one of my favorite heroes in the support context. I don't think we see him used quite enough for how good he actually is. The problem is he is very synergistically based, right? You have to have a team that works well with Disruptor's particular skill set. Does the lineup of UM fit the kind of team that Disruptor excels in?
Yeah, Disruptor Darkseer is itself a really valid combo. You got the vacuum into the kinetic field. Done deal. Game fight is set if you get a good vacuum wall on top of kinetic field static storm. That will kill an entire team in most cases.
And then you got a Bat Rider flying around with his stupid Firefly and more AoE damage everywhere. It gives plenty of time for him to get up napalm stacks if the fight happens to extend out. So I definitely think that U of M has played another one of their strategies that's going to be very interesting early on.
U of M does not have a lot of tower push right now. They've got a lot of sieging potential. But they don't have a lot of ability to actually chip down towers unless they just do it by sheer force of will.
I wouldn't be surprised to see an H. Oh, no, take that back. Drow is going to get picked up here. An interesting get. What do you think of that Drow pickup? I'm curious what you say about that.
It gives them some tower potential just because they have a lot of ranged heroes. Oracle also has the lowest base attack time in the game, I think. So Oracle can right-click pretty effectively if given the right skill set and the base damage for it. So Drow Ranger will allow that Oracle to actually semi-core if he wants to.
Intriguing. I'm curious to see where they put everyone. Death's going to be getting the Bloodseeker last up. Another hero that is something I don't get to see played very often, but could be very interesting in the way that this lineup's getting put together. Another sort of counter for the Bat Riders initiation and run. Curious to see how it goes. Also means the Drow Ranger does have to be careful about Bloodseeker coming out and looking for ganks, as in the early games she would be very susceptible to that. Assuming there's enough stuns on the Tango side to keep her from just TPing away to safety. So the lineups are in.
They've got.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Right, that's one thing that Tango does not have to worry about is stun. They've got Zeus mini stun, they've got Shackle Shot, they've got Earthshaker, they've got Vengeful Spirit, and they have swap. So
stuns for days. That said, guys, let's introduce these teams as we change the overlay on the game. This is round 2 of UNT versus U of M, University of Michigan, University of North Texas, week 13 of the Collegiate Star League. My name's Toffees. I'm joined by my co-caster and my partner in crime, Gorgon the Wonder Cow, as the smoke comes out. So, for the first team, University of North Texas on the dire side, we're going to have Death's hoping to live up and hand out his namesake on the Bloodseeker. Leonia is going to be playing the Zeus for the second time. Dr. Professor on the Vengeful Spirit. We're going to have Fang on the Wind Ranger hoping to get up those Shackle Shots. And last but not least, Spunky on the Earthshaker.
All right, and here for U of M on the Radiant side, we've got AA causing trouble on the Disruptor. Zingle is chilling out on the Drow Ranger. It's going to be nice player here on that Darkseer. Pave is going to be seeing the future on Oracle, and T1E is burning up on the Bat Rider.
All right, this is going to be a game last hit tonight chart up for you guys as we get this thing underway. University of North Texas has an awful lot to prove. Last game, Gorgon, they proved that they can hold the high ground, but what they need to prove in this one is that they can take a Tier 1 tower. On the opposite side, University of Michigan wants to show us, as the last game wasn't a fluke, that their 11-0 record and their run for the playoffs is exactly what they want it to be. TIE is going to come in and defend the top rune. It'll go 1 for 1, rune for rune, just like it did in the last game. Though this time, there's not going to be 2 bloods given up before the buzzer.
Yeah, it's a slower start for U of M, but they don't necessarily need to get off the ground here until they get some core items and core skills, more importantly, up. Once they start to get some real levels into the precision ore, maybe level 2 or level 3, their global damage output is going to be tremendous.
Now we're going to have TIE is going to be up against Zeus. Last time around, Lone Druid really dominated Zeus in the mid lane. Is Bat Rider going to have the same functionality here in the mid?
It, once again, depends on the players, but I think Leon, you should have an advantage here. He not only can he get a wand to deal with the Bat Rider, but he also is going to be able to harass from outside of range.
Okay, so here's what happened down on the bottom lane. Drow died. Professor will go down. One more tick will do it. I think he's got enough, yeah. So it went 1 for 1. It could have gone easy drow, no deaths, but the Fisher was a little bit off target and gave the drow some time to survive. She chose to come back into the fight. Actually, did Fang finish her with a power shot? No. Venge was able to get her. So she came back into the fight to help out as her team tried to do a rotation and get the return kill and the first blood. At the end of the day, U of M gives it up with the drow, and they get 1 for return. So a really good exchange that favors UNT there, as University of Michigan is caught out. And really, this is the optimal start, I think, for the guys from UNT, based on what we saw last time around.
Well, they could have taken the drow, not lost a hero, but it's a pretty good start. I wouldn't go so far as to say optimal, but they're certainly doing all right.
It's optimal compared to what happened last time.
Well, it's definitely better than what happened last time. I'll give you that.
All right, let's see.
In the mid lane, Zeus is controlling his lane pretty well in terms of HP pools, but is not doing a great job of securing the last hits. Batrider is really just bullying the lane in a way that he shouldn't be allowed to do.
Yeah. Well, the bottle's up.
He does not have a bottle.
Yeah, the mana regen is there. We're going to see the bat go out. He doesn't have his bottle. As you said, it's on his way out on the courier, so he won't be able to throw the root into that, but he'll be okay with it. Arcane going to be on the bottom. It'll be reserved for Professor, by Professor for the Zeus, so just be pretty happy with that. That'll allow him to spam a little more in terms of the last hits on lane and maybe try to harass that Bat Rider back just a little bit.
Professor should rotate here and try to kill the Bat Rider while they have that Arcane up because it increases their damage output in a short period of time.
There it is. There's the stun. Comes in from behind. We see Leon Yu with the mini stun. Bat's going to go forward. He's got the Firefly up, puts up some damage, runs for the high ground. Juan going to be a lifesaver, and he will get away. The Firefly very, very strong. Meanwhile, on the top, Death chases nice player here. Nice player tries to use his way through the trees. Death will do some good harassing and force out the sprint, the surge away by the Darkseer. Let's check in on the lanes and see how everybody's doing. Bat Rider and Bloodseeker going head-to-head in terms of trying to get those last hits. The off lane, well, it's weird the way that the off lane's working out here. Nice player here having a hard time dealing with death, so he's not getting very much at all. Meanwhile, the aggressive tri-lane for the opposing team, UNT, is actually doing relatively well. Are they getting enough to justify the aggressive tri?
No, but they're also not getting demolished by the decision. Right now is really where it's coming down to. They have tried to rotate into the mid lane a bit. They've tried to be active. Death's not by any means hurting because of it. So honestly, this laning configuration is probably more favorable to them than having the Bloodseeker in the off lane, which was the alternative. Just because Bloodseeker is one of the few melee heroes that can really go up against Darkseer very easily. He has that heal potential whenever he denies a creep. So a Darkseer in lane against Bloodseeker is pretty much a guaranteed full health Bloodseeker all the time.
Let me ask you about the build on Bat. Bat chose to go brown boots first. Is that something that is relatively common on the mid Bat Rider? I don't see a ton of them, or watch a ton of them.
I think it's pretty common. Just
okay.
Boots first, Bat Rider is really
Leon, you got killed. Dead. Oracle going to put some work in, but they move back around. They find themselves the Bat Rider. He goes to the high ground, and the uphill mischance saves his life for just a second, allows him to get the Earthshaker, and now the Oracle's going to keep chasing Professor, who's getting very low. Pave, I think one more right click might do it. Nope, it's not enough. Professor is going to get away, and maybe not Pave as Fang finds him and is content to just go with the right click, waiting for the good spot. Actually, no Shackle. Picked up the wind run, misjudges the power shot. I'm not sure why he put it in that direction, but Pave will go down anyway, as Leon Yu was good for the chase. University of North Texas is doing much better in this game.
I feel like University of Michigan are trying to get active, but not with enough gusto. They honestly should probably be waiting to get active right now and just trying to get up. They do have the Precision Ore level 3 at this point. I think they probably should have waited until that Precision Ore had hit 3 before getting active at all.
Gotcha.
And then they should have rotated probably on the Bloodseeker rather than on the Zeus. Bloodseeker will be the problem later on, not the Zeus. And moreover, Bloodseeker is more vulnerable than the Zeus because of how far out he has to come in this lane.
Yeah, and he's doing very, very well up here at the moment. So,
like I said, a Darkseer into a Bloodseeker is just a guaranteed full health Bloodseeker all the time.
Right. So
because he can just...
Hold on a second. He's going to go ahead and try to put up some zoning. Nice player here. Dodges it very effectively. harassing Death as Death continues to heal himself up, but the wraparound comes on Nice Player here, and it was just a harassment wraparound for Professor. Death doesn't have the health to stick around, so Nice Player here will be able to get out. It almost was a gank, but because Nice Player here was able to stand on the high and avoid the silence from Bloodseeker, it ended up not being a kill, and he's the one who's able to stay in lane. So, well played by them.
Yeah, and Batrider does have a couple of single stacks as well in the jungle for him to knock down a little bit later on. Maybe one of those will be given up to the Darkseer instead, since Darkseer is a touch behind maybe where you would want him to be in a one-on-one lane. Zingle is still doing fine, though. I mean, he's not doing as well as the Bloodseeker, but the rest of his team is doing better than their equivalents.
Zeus hits. Yeah, that's fair. Zeus is 6, by the way. Nice vision put up there by Dr. Professor to keep an eye on the tower to get prepared for their push. I would like to see Fang go towards the mid and have Zeus lead the lane because I think Windranger has a unique skill set against the Batrider that's not utilized enough, where she can farm Batrider's camp here from the opposite side of the river and really mess with his ability to utilize that stacking.
I think if she goes for that, she'll probably die. Batrider doesn't have to right click her to kill her. He just needs Firefly. Right. So Windrun is not. Well,
you farm it when he goes back for stacks and when he goes back to get it himself. So you don't have to come very far. You can literally shoot it from right there and get the last hit on most of them.
It's a risky play if you don't have eyes on the Batrider, which in this case she wouldn't. That's what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. Like, okay.
If he fades back and then just pops out with Firefly and lasso, she's dead. But Windranger is not a high health hero, and she's extremely dependent on Windrun for survival. So any hero that does large amounts of damage over time without any right clicks is a dangerous enemy for Windranger at this stage in the game. Okay. That's all I'm trying to drive at.
All right, Goldie, by the way, 750, XP 5, so still really even game in terms of where everybody is. If we look at items, we do see the Aquila up on the Drow Ranger, and that's really it for the big items. Nobody's pulled out anything massive that we need to worry about at this particular stage of the game. We don't have a 6-minute Hand of Midas like we did last time around. We're going to see T1E going to get hit, finds himself some Sunki, but Pave comes from the backside, and Sunki is just going to get eradicated by the Firefly Oracle. Meanwhile, though, on the bottom lane, Fang's going to pop that wind run and go for the escape. Nice body blocks by AA, and that will cost Fang his life. But the Shackle comes out. AA is going to take a lot of damage. The silence is there. Can he finish him in time? He does. Gets a nice little crit shot and a big ol' heal. And now the chase is on. Zingle low. Deaths is a flying racer as he's got the speed. And there it is. The ulti from Zeus makes Death so ridiculously fast. That was the plan all along. Now the draft is understood, as it means that they can make Death as fast as he wants to be anytime that they choose to do so.
It doesn't hurt for that speed that Zingle continued to run because he didn't have a place to go safely. So he basically ran himself to death in that rupture, trying to get back to his tower. That certainly having a hero at like 4% health for a little bit also helps Death quite a bit. I will say you had mentioned there is not an 8-minute Hand of Midas out anywhere, but literally as you said, that the first use of the Batrider Midas came out.
So. I'll tell you. All right, so T1E, definitely an advocate for the Midas. We're going to see the silence come out from Death. T1E dodges it, gets stuck inside a kinetic, but he's got the damage to kill the Professor. Can he survive afterwards? AA is going to wrap around. Ulti is going to be on T1E. He's got nowhere to go. Death should be able to finish him, gets healed back up to full, and he will back away. So it's a 1-for-1, but this one definitely favoring UNT, as it was avenged for a very comfortably farmed Batrider. He will be down and lose 10 seconds of where he would have liked to have used his Hands of Midas, so really a good exchange for UNT. A very good exchange, actually.
Great. Even if for no other reason, the Bloodseeker is the one benefiting from the kill on UNT.
Ooh, Zingle caught out. UNT burns him down. They moved very quickly. They got the stun. Zingle really wanted to get the tower, and he does, but was that worth the exchange of his life for the tower, or was it just that he knew he couldn't escape, so he may as well take the tower in the process?
I think he just figured that he wasn't going to get out anyway.
Gotcha.
I don't think it was a long-term conscious decision. I'm going to trade my life for this tower. I think it was an, oh shit, well, I'll get something while I'm here.
Yeah, story of my XCOM experience. Well, that game is so brutal.
One thing that I would like to point out here is that Death does have Blade Mail up, which up against Darkseer and Ion Shell can be kind of useful, and also up against the Disruptor Static Storm. You can just run around inside Static Storm. Static Storm does not mute Yep, and also the Bat Rider, right? The Firefly, which is just going to make the Bloodseeker faster. As he throws on that Blade Mail and runs through these AoE abilities, he will make himself gradually faster as he does so. So even if you discount the effect that damage has on the other hero's survivability, it just makes Deaths more prepared for these fights.
Yeah, very cheeky. I like the build. He's goes right back to lane, by the way. He's going to keep farming. Doing very well for himself. Net worth chart shows him almost, actually over 6,000 gold right now. And he's definitely leading the game at this point and feels like he has... Bloodseeker's one of those heroes, when you see him this far out at 11 minutes, you start to worry a little bit about U of M's control of the mid game. And do you think U of M has an answer for what Deaths is getting right now, or are they going to have to play it defensively, try to pick up an item or two or to counter him, let a tower or two fall, and then try to make some re-engagements around 15 minutes?
If he goes BKB and his team backs him up, I don't think that they have an answer to him, to be honest, until they just straight up are able to kill him, which won't be for a little while, right? Because if the lasso comes out through the BKB, you've got Avenge here. Nice player here will go down.
Yeah, it was a great play.
Yeah, it was. So let's say he gets the BKB up and then he gets caught by lasso. Avenge is immediately going to save him, right? Let's say he chases after a hero and Oracle uses False Promise. Doesn't matter because that False Promise is just going to leave that hero at low health, which means Deaths is going to have a guaranteed period of time where he is super fast. That hero can't get away, and he might even be able to leverage that speed and damage onto a different hero and then come back for the hero that gets hit by False Promise, right? There just isn't a lot that they have to handle that kind of aggressive positioning. If maybe you see a Glimpse Kinetic Field combination, that would be okay, but BKB negates that completely. And Surge is not really that great at getting away from a hero that hurts you as you run.
Yeah. By the way, T1E does have the Blink Dagger. He's going to try to use it right away. FNG backs off in time. The Shackle comes through, and followed by the Fissure. So it wasn't a connected Shackle, but it didn't mean it. It didn't matter. The Latch was unnecessary. They had enough stuns to follow up, and they get a really nice kill on U of M's Batrider in the mid. Batrider, who was leading the game, is now down by almost 2,000 gold to the Bloodseeker. We're going to go top. They tried to make a move on Deaths, and it's not going to pan out. He's just got the escape right now.
The vacuum missed by probably about 25 units, and then the glimpse was not there because the vacuum missed, and he'll walk away. But he did go for a Shadow Blade instead of a BKB, which is going to give him a lot of killing and ganking potential, but will also make him much more vulnerable to death here. And he does have a 6-0-0, so he's got a streak that's worth quite a bit of gold. If you get that onto the Drow Ranger, this game could turn around really quickly.
So what? Let's talk about the timing on Midas for a Batrider. It's not an item I see typically picked up on him because you want those kind of up and running Batrider early on. You want the fast blink, the fast force staff. Is it an item that if you get it early enough on a Batrider, he has enough later game scalability that it really benefits him? Or do you think you have to have that, like 8 minutes as the cutoff to really make it worthwhile?
Honestly, I don't think that it's going to be more worthwhile than getting a quick blink dagger, basically ever on a Batrider. But that's really a personal choice for me. Batrider can scale fine into the mid game, and he does well with levels, right? The extra 0.5 duration onto the lasso and the quicker cooldown will make it so that they can gauge faster. So right now they are going to use that lasso and knock down the bench.
So they get themselves a nice kill on the Venge. They'll go ahead and probably take the top tower. Glyph will be used. Here's a wraparound. They got to be careful because in comes their worst nightmare. Deaths with a Shadow Blade that he has not revealed yet. So he's going to give himself the Bloodlust. Goes invisible. Wants to chase. Sees nice player, but has to be careful. He doesn't want to give away his positioning. Look at how he's handling that range. Really well handled here. And he'll let nice player double back. He sees Zingle. He sees Batrider. He's going to come in from behind. He's going to wreck. Zingle drops down very, very quickly. In comes the Earthshaker. He's in some trouble. Nice player here now on the run, but Death's putting in some serious work. He's got 1. He's got 2. He's got 3. He has 4. It's a team wipe, baby, as University of Michigan is in the exact opposite position that they found themselves in the last game. The guys from UNT have been executing, most importantly, Deaths, who has been handing out his namesake like it's candy.
Yeah, he's now 8-0-1 this game, and Bloodseeker is not a hero you want to give that kind of leverage to. He, as we just saw, can really get out of control very quickly. The amount of patience that he showed waiting for his team to get into place instead of just blowing up the Darkseer, which he could have done, Honestly, I was a little impressed. I expected him to just blow onto the Darkseer, get the quick, easy kill, and then have the team fight kind of break down into a trade elsewhere. But he saved onto it. He waited till he saw Zingle, and he waited till Zingle used Mask of Madness. Then he engaged onto the Bat Rider and used the Silence to clean up both of them.
It was beautiful.
That amount of patience was, yeah, it turned what would have been an exchange into a 5-man wipe.
It was a thing of beauty. The self-control was strong with Death, and I think that he definitely showed us why he has been doing so well lately. Meanwhile, we're going to get a jump forward by TIE. Catches Professor. Second time he's been caught out and destroyed by the Bat Rider. Death tries to come in to help, but it's not going to be in time, and the Vengeful Spirit does go down. So this Bat Rider...
Yeah, this is probably what they need to be doing, right? Using the lasso in order to leverage kills onto the supports, who are worth more because the AoE gold.
Oh! What a static field to buy some space. The pushback from Zingle. Everything they have to try and save him, but it's still not enough. Man, Zeus comes forward. He's got the Veil of Discord this time, and that just increases the amount of damage we're seeing coming out from the Bloodright. I'm sorry, does Bloodright benefit from Mask or Veil of Discord?
Wait, what?
It doesn't. Pure damage doesn't count, right? I'm having
no. Veil Discord. No.
I didn't think so. Just wanted to double check that. For some reason, I thought Bloodright was magical.
For a second there, I thought you said Blood Rage, and I was like, you're thinking of the old Bloodseeker. The new one doesn't do damage over time like the old one did. Now I understand you said Bloodright, and I'm just deaf.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now I will say
everything that Bloodseeker does is pure or physical. He doesn't do any magical damage at all.
Now, Blood Rage put on a Zeus carrying a Veil of Discord can also be pretty ridiculously brutal in these team fights.
Yeah.
Like, really.
Hey, even without the Veil of Discord.
That's true.
It still do a
so,
amount. Now,
how does that scaling work? Because you got an 8% spell damage amp. Then you've got the Veil of Discord doing a 25% damage increase for magic. And then you've got the 40% Bloodright. How do those which one happens first? I don't understand.
So if you had a Zeus who was, say, in his mountain, and he cast Thunder God's Wrath, he would get the 8% spell damage bonus, right?
Right.
And then he would get the 20% damage increase from Blood Rage. Because remember, if you're outside of, I think it's 2200 range,
right?
With the damage for Blood Rage, you do half. Then, we're going to see an engagement on the Death, so I'll come back to the math lesson.
Death backs away. Good fissure, though. Locks him inside of the flames. And now T1E going to be searching everywhere for him. We got the Silence coming out to try and buy Death some space. Death's going to get swapped to the high ground. Professor going for the save. In comes Fang. Big latch. Power shot hits one. Fang backs off, and UNT survives with no casualties.
Yeah, it was a really good engagement idea from U of M. They just couldn't quite execute it. And part of that is just that the execution wasn't there. There were too many heroes off the map, but because there isn't that map control for U of M, they can't go out and get the wards up to know that.
They had to hope for the best.
They do have a gem on the Bat Rider, though.
Oh, good. So that will help them. That's why they were able to track him with the Shadow Blade. That said, the stuns on UNT have proven to be difficult. Now let's get back to the spell damage increase thing because I'm very interested in it.
All right, so you'd have a 28% bonus to the damage going out, and then you would add on any Veil of Discord bonus to that.
So 28% and then 20% on top of that 28. So damage plus 28% plus 20%.
Even though Veil of Discord marks itself as an increased magic damage, I'm fairly sure that it effectively just negates damage resistance instead.
Okay.
So that would be applied after the damage bonuses from the other side. So basically, if you count Veil of Discord as a negation of base magic resistance, you're saying that Zeus is going to do basically pure damage at 28% extra damage.
Death comes in, tries to get a kill. Not going to get a connected field, doing a little bit of work to try and contain him from the chase. And we'll see everyone TP away, scared out of their damn minds. That said, so basically what you're telling me is if Bloodseeker gives Blood Rage to a Zeus who's able to be in the actual fight instead of at range so that he can also use his Q and his W, the amount of damage that he can do is insane. Do you know if that affects his static field as well? Or is that just health removal?
Static field, so HP removal isn't a thing anymore. So static field is magical. They removed that 4 patches ago.
So that 11% is amped by those items. Hold on, real quick. We got a big fight in the mid. Leon and Sunki caught out of position. And this is what we said. You said U of M has to do this. They have to get these picks and try to keep themselves relevant. That's a really good exchange for them. Massive pickup.
So if I've done my math right, and I would want to test this in the lobby before I said that this was explicitly and 100% the case. Zeus's ultimate, if he has cast Veil of Discord on a hero and is within the 2200 range when he casts his ultimate, and he has the Blood Rage on him, should do 947 damage when it's level 3. And if he is not within the 2200 range, should do about 820.
That's pretty good. Then you, like I said, toss Lightning Bolt and a little static field pop onto there. That's a ton of damage in these
We're
teamfights.
talking one-hit kill on Oracle right now. Right, we're talking one-hit kill on the Disruptor, and we'll probably still be one-hit kill on the Disruptor at 40 minutes. On Drow, you're barely escaping one-hit kill range. Definitely one-hit kill if it happens while the Mask of Madness is on.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a very interesting build out of UNT. A interesting synergy that they put together. I'm curious to see how it scales, though it may not even tell us how it scales because right now UNT is doing such a good job. I don't know what's going to happen as we move towards the late game. We got a snowballing Bloodseeker. Is there a point where Bloodseeker is going to fall off and make way for the Drow, or are they in a situation where it's just pray for the best right now?
It's really difficult to tell with these lineups. I'm interested to see how the Drow's interaction with the Oracle specifically impacts the right-click potential of this team. Because if Oracle gets some items up and gets some survivability, he will actually be hitting fairly hard right now. He's doing over 100 damage per second as a support with right-clicks now, not even very far into the game. So to a same degree, Batrider with Sticky Napalm and with the aura damage is able to do quite a bit of right-click as well. So U of M can dance around this game for a while, but the Bloodseeker is certainly going to be an issue. And eventually he will, I assume, get a Black King bar, which will just be the end of U of M's ability to handle him, to be quite honest. Right now, they have some ability to handle him if he makes a positioning error, and they capitalize on it perfectly. But the Vengeful Spirit, for one thing, has been doing a very good job of keeping this Bloodseeker safe, as has the Earthshaker.
So right now, U of M staying together very, very effectively, protecting each other. The Batrider does now have the Force Staff up, and like you said, Gem True Sight to sort of make his ganks possible. But the guys from UNT are not going to get caught out. They realize that the strategy for U of M is to try and catch one or two and get pickoffs, and they are now grouped up as well. I don't see a smoke on anybody at the moment, so it does look like they're just protecting. Yeah.
I think they're expecting a push on this mid tower. So you see they're keeping the Venge back because they expect the lasso to come out. They are now going to smoke up and rotate. They have seen the Darkseer.
It's interesting that for all of the what feels like advantage that UNT's got right now, their vision seems very defensive. They're going to head to the top. This is very likely the death of the Darkseer. Gets wrapped around. Vision from Zeus comes out. In comes, pretty much everything. The swap and the stop.
The swap kills them. Yeah. With the rupture damage.
That'll finish it. Another nice little synergistic combo. UNT seems very concerned with synergy in their heroes, and Disruptor sends Windranger back to the lane, says, all right, I'm just going to waste your TP. That's going to allow the Batrider to blink in and grab himself the Venge. Venge is going to get pulled too far forward. Gets caught by Oracle, trying to run for the hills. Can he get out in time? Looks like he just might as Leon Yu comes back around. Nice play. Everyone from Dire pushing forward, and they lost Zingle in that exchange. That's going to be pretty big as the Drow is now down and the chase is on. Death continues to want to make this fight happen. Pave goes ahead and goes for the TP to safety, taking a lot of damage. The Shackle comes in. That'll be a dead Pave. Nice Shackle shot. Catches the latch unnecessarily, and they will get a triple off the top to the mid lanes.
And they're probably going to capitalize on a tower as well. The Axe is up on Windranger, so she should be able to just knock this tower down. And honestly, they could chip away at this high ground as well. There aren't any other lanes pushed very far forward, so the choice here is either Roche or chip high ground. It looks like Roche is going to be the key.
All right. Gold lead at 5, XP at 8, and they're going to head into that Roche pit. Really, I mean, can U of M do anything to contest them?
No, not here. The lasso's down, right? They could try to get a vacuum, but there's no static storm to follow up on it. and it's already down, right? So high ground defense time. U of M doesn't really have the best high ground defense is part of the issue, and Zingel's really far behind. Like, he is behind the Zeus in terms of net worth by 2,000-ish.
Huh.
Well, 1,300.
I sit here and I'm trying to figure out what your plan is if you're U of M at this point in the game. 26 minutes in. Apparently we have a signal drop. What's your strategy at this point of the game? Just disconnect. So Zingle says give us a second, as it looks like they are having some technical issues on campus or wherever it is they happen to be. And let's go back to that line of conversation, though, Gorgon. If you're sitting back, you're trying to figure out what's my strategy to get back into this game as U of M, what do you have to figure out?
How do we not get caught out, basically? On these high ground defenses, what this is really going to end up coming down to is, can they bait the Bloodseeker in too deep for his team to support him, right? That's where you are. And I suspect the answer to that is no. He's been very fastidious in his positioning, and he's been looking for opportunities to get kills, but he's not been sucked into that mindset so far of going too deep. Really has had an objective-oriented mind, and honestly, I've been impressed by his play so far this game. He does have an Aegis now as well.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, man. 7,500 gold XP at 10,000 right now. Bloodseeker, like you said, it doesn't look like, well, I guess he's got 3,000 in the bank. So there's really no guess that I have at this point for what he's going to build. Like you said, BKB makes a lot of sense, but it feels like he's saving for something else. I don't know. What else would he get besides a BKB?
Maybe Radiance?
Nah, maybe he just wants to buy it all at one price. I don't know. I could see him radiancing. After the builds we saw in the last game where U of M trolled UNT, it wouldn't surprise me to see UNT try to do the same thing and get a little bit of comeuppance. So we will see as the game goes forward. I don't think UNT can afford to take the same level of cheek that U of M did in the last game, though this looks like it may go into the late. I think that is this feeling like it's going to be over the next 10 minutes, or are you thinking we're another 50-minute here?
It depends on how well U of M defend the high ground, right? It's completely in their court right now. This is a very difficult game for them to come back from. They are definitely on the back foot, and they need some mistakes from UNT. But their fate is still, to some degree, in their hands.
Right.
Can they keep their positioning well? Can they get the Bat Rider to jump out and grab kills without the bench interrupting them? Can they get good vacuum wall, static storm combinations before a BKB comes out? Well, no, they can't because the BKB is there. I don't know how they killed this Bloodseeker is the only issue. Even if he didn't have Aegis, with BKB, he would have to go out by himself and get caught out by 5, basically.
Gotcha. And speaking of getting caught out, Death's looking right now. Zingle could be in some serious trouble, running for the hills, and he will manage to just barely get away. Couldn't have seen Death's coming, but had to feel Death looming over his shoulder as he doesn't realize just how close he came to utter destroyed. Fang and Leon, you're going to push out the top lane. We're going to see Sunki do a little bit of farming. His Blink Dagger, he's getting very comfortable with his catching up in terms of farm right now. Let's look at the stack chart. And it is 15,000 gold on that Bloodseeker. That's 5,000 lead over the Bat Rider, who has been farming pretty good and has a hand of Midas. So that just speaks to how much work Death has been putting in. His kill count 11-0 right now. Pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, he's worth a lot of money. If they can somehow manage to wrap up a kill here, then it's going to probably negate a good chunk of Zingle's deficit. They're going to use the Mask of Madness and try to push out this mid tower. They're going to trade a tier 2 for it.
They're going to trade tier 2 and try to push down. Deaths, by the way, did pick up his BKB with a 10-second charge, so he grabs that, makes him very effective. Blink Dagger on the Wind Ranger as well, so initiation potential has skyrocketed for UNT, and they will do exactly what I think is going to be the absolute choice that could put U of M in the grave as they smoke and rotate toward mid. U of M smart enough to channel immediately and get their TPs going, and they're like, we're not going to risk it, we're not going to try to walk out, we're just going to go, and that's exactly what they do. Smart move by University of Michigan.
Yeah, they are smoked up, and they're going to try to find a kill on this Bloodseeker, but he is far too fast.
Like they're going to war with viewers at the same time. Death goes
You know
ahead and
what?
says, "I'll take
I
the
can
top tower."
multitask.
You are a
Yeah.
great multitasker. I'll give you that. I'll give you. You're a wonder cow. You're a wonder cow. And we're gonna see the TP away.
Yeah,
T1E.
Bat has gem. He can't be out that far.
Yep. So he's going to back off. The tower does drop to the Bloodseeker, so they picked up a tier 2 and a tier 1 in exchange for a tier 1. UNT just, like I said, playing really well, exactly the opposite of what we saw in the last game, and saying, listen, we're not a pushover. Just because our record is bad doesn't mean that you can goof off against us and expect an easy win, and that's what they're doing here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they do other than just wait on high ground at this point. They can't defend these tier 2s. They can maybe try to split a touch with this Darkseer, which seems to be the way they're going. By the time Zingle gets up here, though, the TPs will be available, so he probably shouldn't even bother coming up this far.
So he'll do some damage on it. It looks like we might see a continued push coming out of U of M. They're going to try to force the TP backs. They will lose the tier 2, and Zingle and Nice Player here are going to push in instead of coming back to defense. The tower is dropping very, very quickly. They have a glyph available. They don't seem like they want to stay, but Fang has the Ag Scepter and is just going to go ahead and melt down that tower. The glyph used on the opposite side as Zingle, with the Mask of Madness, wants to go on the tower, immediately backs away, throws up the sounds just in case, and they will not get the tower. In exchange, they lose theirs, and Death's now trying to take away that melee Rax. Here comes Fang. He'll pop his ultimate. Melee Rax will go down in this exchange. Death does get caught inside of the lasso. Death Professor, though, doing so much work, making life very difficult for the Bat Rider, and now Death wants to keep the chase going. Pops that Blade Mail and backs away at half health. They've lost the Venge off of a good save to keep him out of the Bat Rider's clutches. Death's caught in the kinetic field. That's what they wanted. They get the kill. It's much needed. Death's goes down, gives a big chunk of gold to the end of his godlike streak. So Darkseer picked up 1,000 gold by himself for that, and the swing was over 3,000 off of that kill.
Yeah, it's something. It's a little late. They did lose their racks, but they could definitely come back on that, right? That's a pretty sizable swing, and it does get Zingle up to kind of where he needs to be. He's very close to the Zeus now. He's less than 1,000 away from the Zeus in terms of net worth, and he is kind of running around, not farming, not sure what he's doing right now. They need him to be able to sit in the back of these lines, and they definitely need the start keeping him up with False Promise longer.
Right, so we'll take a look at, I'm going to watch Pave specifically because I want you to get a free Arcana and see what his right clicks look like throughout the rest of the match.
I'm actually, he's already up to 300 damage since that guy said that. Yeah, I was watching the combat log. So, yeah, it's going to happen. He won't give the Arcana, but you know, we're already there.
300? No, you never know. There's 300. I'm taking his side.
Yeah. But, yeah, the point being, theoretically, Oracle can right-click just fine if he gets some survivability up, which is what I had said earlier in the game. More importantly, he's going to contribute to any potential capitalization on objectives, which was intended to be my point when I was talking about Oracle's right-click earlier. The fact of the matter is, although they don't have a lot of traditional push, they do, with the Drow and with all of the ranged heroes that they have the ability to capitalize on objectives fairly quickly if they do take swings in their favor. Bat Rider with the Sticky Napalm is in addition going to do a fair amount of damage to heroes. Ooh. If he can stay alive, he cannot. Nope. He will lose the gem.
Yeah.
It's by no means going to be a case of, look, these guys have overwhelming right-click damage. But if you're looking at ways for a team that is playing from behind and ways for them to potentially get out of that rut, that right-click damage is going to be a big part of their potential rise out of that rut and their high ground defense, because they honestly don't have a ton without a very well-executed lasso or an extremely well-executed vacuum wall kinetic field stats, static storm.
God, the items are just so strong right now. Boots of Travel up on the Zeus. We do have the bots on the Bat Rider. We haven't really talked about a ton yet. Darkseer with the Pipe of Insight and the Mechanism, as well as a fresh BKB on Zingle for U of M. On the opposite side, though, UNT is just looking good. The Basher on Bloodseeker. Looks like we got a Chrysalis coming out to the Wind Ranger to really maximize her damage output on initiation. Zeus with apparently a ton of split push potential at this point in time. UNT just continues to stack the deck in their favor, and University of Michigan seems to be grasping at straws as, again, we're going to lose Zingle here.
Yeah, he's out a touch too far.
No,
He's
he
going
might
to
get
be oh, the bash.
Oh no, the bash hits and Zingle
He
will go
probably
down.
didn't know that Basher was out.
Nope.
Honestly, because that was the reveal, I
Yeah,
think, right?
it was. I think it was the reveal of no. Zingle showed the BKB earlier, and then Deaths grabbed the basher. I believe.
Maybe that was his first BKB use though, so he died on his 10-second charge, which is not what you want.
He says 300 damage wasn't spell damage, brother.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was watching the combat log, but you know, it's okay.
That's fine. All right.
All right.
So, yeah, he's in your head, man. 12,000 gold XP.
Well, you keep bringing it up. I was doing a thing on the side, and I was doing my cast with you, and you were merged. You're like my work life getting in with my personal life. You know, you got to keep those two fields separate.
Hey, man.
I'm arguing with viewers in the Twitch chat.
You let Twitch chat pick a fight with you. I've got to laugh at it. It's like 101. It's just don't take the bait. Gold lead at 12,000, XP at 13.
You're the one taking the bait, Toffees. You're bringing it up in the cast. I was just fine, happy, knocking it out in the Twitch chat. Never had to mention.
I'm just trying to keep conversation going because let's be blunt, UNT is controlling this game in a way that makes it very difficult to hold out a lot of hope for U of M at this point.
Well,
to me at least. I mean, am I wrong? Is there hope? Tell me about the hope.
No, you're not wrong, but it's not over, right? That's the thing. Bloodseeker is basically maxed out now. He can get Boots of Travel. He can maybe get rid of the Blade Mail and get something, but honestly, the Blade Mail is probably better because of the damage types that he's going up against and the lack of BKBs on the other team. He can scale a little bit, but if they are able to hold high ground against him where he is now, they'll be able to continue to hold high ground against him for a long time as long as they don't make mistakes. So that's the test here. Oh no, the Shadow Blade.
Oh, there it is though. They got the vision. They thought he might be there. They grab him with the lasso. They're going to take him away from the rest of his team. The team is coming in. Darkseer puts up his ultimate. Oh, the Zeus ulti is just so strong. Everyone drops low. In comes the Echo Slam from Sunki. Damage going out. We've lost 2 on U of M. We've lost 1 on the opposite side. Zingle in some trouble. Goes for the TP out. He's going to get picked up by the Yules and tossed back down. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. They're going to make it 4. Can they close out the deal with 5? I don't believe so, as Batrider has TP'd back to base. So a 4-man wipe at the cost of an Earthshaker when they thought they invested a smoke. They thought they had the gank. They thought Bloodseeker was in their grasp, but Death proves too strong. This is one of the few times that you can, well, I guess that Death can escape from you. It doesn't fit the old adage now, does it?
It's like an instant escape button if Zeus ults because he just becomes too fast to catch. They don't have a mechanism to grab him with that BKB. But they needed to be executing on him before that BKB came out, especially because he went for the Shadow Blade, which was honestly a greedy build for this game. They could have decided to just group up and try to hunt down this Bloodseeker at the expense of experience and potentially at the expense of farm. Maybe have slowed him down. I don't know if that would have worked or not, but after the BKB comes out, there's just not a lot of ways around.
And he's got an Abyssal now, so there's a guarantee that no one's TPing away from him if he goes to pick you off. Farming has become almost impossible for U of M to do outside of their base. I expect to see Dire Wars start to go down for catch vision, if you will, for people to come out like we saw in the last game on the opposite side. The gold lead is hitting 17,000. The XP is almost at 20 at this point. I mean, I just don't know. I literally, I feel like this is the last game, but A, with less cheeky builds, and
yeah,
B,
well, if this was the last game, Michigan would be winning by now because if UNT built the way University of Michigan built last game, they would not be holding up. They are doing well because they're taking it seriously, to their credit.
To their credit, I believe that is absolutely true. U of M stuck on the high ground, trying to figure out, where do we come back from this, or do we just go to a game 3? U of M obviously would like to pick up all the games. They're sitting at a point where they can have a top seed going into playoffs, but that will depend on winning every single game, not just every single match. So they're looking to keep their undefeated match record. They have 1 defeat in terms of games, and they don't want to make that 2. Single dropping pretty low, pops the BKB, turns back, puts some damage on Deaths, wants to go on Fang. AA dropping in. He sacrifices his body to try and finish off Fang. Fang caught inside the lasso. Wow. Zingle is melted. The swap is in. Lives are saved. Winrage is coming back with the Aegis. And Deaths will chase back T1E. Finishes him off. The mini stun from Leon Yu just enough to keep him in place for Des to finish the job. Now Zingle comes back with the buyback. It looks like it might be a dieback as the double Fissure Echo Slam Shackle on Zingle, and Zingle keeps coming forward because that's what Zingle do as the guys go back and finish up working on the racks. Smart plays by UNT, not forcing the dives, making sure that they finish objective gaming, and they will find themselves nice player, get a kill, get a Rex, and honestly, I don't think we're far off from a GG. There it is. Prophetic. Well, that's it for Game 2. We are going to go to a Game 3 tonight as University of Michigan and University of North Texas split the games 1-1. So stick around. We're not going anywhere. We've got one more to do. My name is Toffs. You can find me at Toffees TV. I'm joined by Gorgon the Wonder Cow. You can find him at the Wonder Cow. And of course, you can follow us for all the updates on the best in collegiate esports. Not just Dota, but everything from Hearthstone to StarCraft to even League of Legends. Follow them at C Starly to get those updates. Don't go anywhere. We got one more game. In the meantime, we'll play some music for you and hang out in Twitch chat in case you have any questions or any trash talk that you want to throw back and forth with Gorgon. My name's Toffees, and as always, I am out.